Okay, these are questions 4 and 5 from the slope formula calculating rate of change worksheet. So number 4 says, when an amusement park opened, the counter on the turnstile at the entrance read 1,278. 7 hours later, the counter read 3,672, and it wants to know what is the average amount of people entering the amusement park per hour. So, first we need to identify the independent variable, and as I've told y'all in class, if we have time in this, time is always independent. So in this case, we do have time. And that would be time in hours. And then our dependent variable would be the number of people. Okay, so to find the rate of change, which is the same thing as slope, we need to come up with 2 points. So one of our points is when they opened the amusement park, the time would be 0 hours, and the number of people would be 1,278. And then we need another point, and that says 7 hours later, so we'd have 7, and then 3,672. So now we can use our equation for slope formula, and that's y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. So in this case, this is x1, y1, x2, y2. So we just plug it into the formula. Our y2 is 3,672. And then we do minus y1, and our y1 is 1,278. And then on the bottom we do x2, which is 7, minus x1, which is 0. Okay, so when we subtract the top, we end up getting 2,394. And then obviously 7 minus 0 is 7. Then we divide, and you would end up with 342. So that is our rate of change, 342, but we have to figure out the units. So that would be, since we're talking about people coming into a park, that would be people per hour. And that's the first problem. Okay, then for the second problem, we have Scott began printing his history paper at 3:15. At 3:20, he found that he had printed 120 of his 150 pages. What is the average number of pages being printed per minute? So first of all, the independent, once again we have time. And the dependent, and this would be time in minutes, since we're going by minutes. The dependent would be our number of pages that have been printed. Okay, our next step is to find our 2 points. So one of our points, since we're just really talking about minutes, we could just use 15 because that's the number of minutes. And at 15 minutes, he had just started printing his paper, so he's got 0 pages at that point. And then at 20 minutes, he's got 120 finished. So now we label our points. Oops. x1, y1, x2, y2. We use our formula. y2 minus y1 over x2 minus x1. Just plug them in. Our y2 value is 120 minus y1, which is 0, over x2, which is 20, minus x1, which is 15. Now we just subtract. 120 minus 0 is 120, and 20 minus 15 is 5. And then your next step is to divide. So you do 120 divided by 5, and you would get 24. So that's our rate of change, 24. And the units, since we're talking about pages, it would be pages per, and this time we're using minutes. So it would be pages per minute. Okay, that is this paper. I did half of the problems you had to do, so you can finish the rest, and this is due on Thursday.